I've got that badge. I've done that before. I've left my daughter at kindy many moons ago.
We're going racing on the sound of the tone.
Again, locked together. First to the left, then to the right. Reinhardt's down the inside. He's through. He's through.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Look at this. We've got a new streaming platform that we're working on. And for our first time round, we've got the Toia family who are joining us now from, oh, look at that. They've got their cars out so they can remember what their sponsors are for the weekend. Welcome aboard, everybody. I'm assuming you can hear me perfectly clearly.
Sorry, we're just getting our speakers working.
Oh, okay. That's fair enough.
3 weeks later.
All right. So here we are, pre-Worlds, and we've got what we can only say as RC royalty right in front of us, the Toia family. 2 generations of Toias. The bald guy out to the side there, that's the dad. For those at home who don't know, that's Nathan. Probably the world's most forgetful RC racer in the world. Can't remember to fuel up cars. Leaves his laptop at home. What else have you done, Nathan, that you probably don't remember. Kids, what else has Dad forgotten to do?
Just about anything. He's forgotten
Has
to pick
he?
us up from school.
I've got that badge. I've done that before. I've left my daughter at kindy many moons ago, a long time before any of you, probably even when Nathan still had hair. A long time ago. I was supposed to pick her up from kindy. We were living and working in Rotorua, and I got busy with work, and I completely forgot about it. And it was like 5:30 in the afternoon. The kindy rang me, said, you coming to pick up your daughter? And I was like, oh, shit. No wonder I got so many missed calls from my wife. Yeah, I didn't live that down for a long time. Trust me. Okay, so you guys are flying out to the Worlds in Sydney in a couple of days' time. I'm assuming Saturday or Sunday, somewhere around there.
Going on Sunday, so 4 days' time or something.
Yeah. So, I guess what we're kind of going to, our angle is going to be at is, especially for you two younger Toyas, is what's your expectation for this event, and what do you hope to get out of it in terms of? I know you've both done a lot of international racing over the last couple of years to build up to this. But what's the expectation for both of you? And I'll start with you, Dylan. What's your expectation?
So both of us, it's our first year going to a World. So, but my main goals are just to have a lot of fun, learn a lot from the best in the world, and then it would be amazing to get top 50, but realistically, it's probably more like a top 100, top 75. Result, but if I can get top 50, that would be amazing. But just going there to get the enjoyment out of it and learn from the best in the world, get to meet the people that I've looked up to the whole of my life,
Okay. And for you, Logan, what's your expectations? What's the goal that you've set for yourself for this 2025 IFMAR 1/10th Electric Off-Road World Championship?
So I've put a lot of effort into this Worlds. I've already been to Sydney twice over the past year. I went to the Nationals last year in 2024, and then I went to the Pre-Worlds earlier this year in April. So my goal is top 30. I think it's achievable. It was top 20 at the Pre-Worlds. So I think that's top 30 is a good goal, and it'll be pretty cool to say I'm top 30 in the world at RC. It's something I've kind of looked forward to. That's my goal, and of course have fun. I love making new friends, like international friends and stuff. I've got friends all over the world now just from RC, and that's like one of the best parts about RC is making all those friends and those memories and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that is the cool part of the sport, is so many friends that you get to meet along the journey and the stories, and it's a lifelong thing too. It just doesn't go away. Hey, Nathan, you'd know you've done plenty of international events when back back in the day when you could say you were fast and not so forgetful.
Still just as forgetful.
Yeah, Paul reminds us quite often.
Anyway, Nathan Toia was pitting for me, and this actually took me a number of years to get over. So, but I've forgotten about it now. I mean, I hardly ever bring it up. But
so Nathan, for yourself, and I'm assuming Amanda, the long-suffering wife, is coming across with you as well to make sure that all three of you are not doing anything silly, no broken bones or karting incidents or anything like that. You're all going across to as a family unit. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah. Whole family's going over. So we're there for 15 days, I think. So there for quite a while. Important not to get injured while we're over there. That's why we haven't been out mountain biking for quite some time. That's what I'm looking forward to when I get home, is going and doing some mountain biking. But yeah, just trying to keep everybody with the right mindset, because that really is the most important thing when you're racing at that sort of level. It's just having a good mindset and enjoying. Like, I want to see the boys enjoying it. It's their first experience at a world, so they don't really know what they're going to be up against. Logan's lucky. He's been there twice and already raced quite a few top drivers from around the world with all his trips that he's had. So, but I just, the important thing is to have fun and enjoy the experience. They're both very competitive. They both, want to win. But at the end of the day, only one person can win. Everybody else is just there for second place or lower. So it's the experience that really does count.
Yeah. Okay. So you've been to the Worlds before, haven't you? Or was it the Kaio show? Was it on road? If I remember correctly, was it Nitro on road?
Yeah, the first international event was the Kaio Cup, and that was in Tokyo. That I think was 97. That was a fantastic first big meeting. But I've also was lucky enough to go to the 8-scale off-road worlds in Jakarta, and came home, spent a couple of days at home, and then turned around and flew to Brisbane and did the 1/10th on-road worlds. So that was my sort of last big race meeting. And then we had kids and all of that sort of stuff slowed down until the kids got into racing, and now we're all at it again.
Yeah, you get a second wind of it. So, Dylan, you're part of the Miyako junior program. What's involved in that? What does JQ instill with you, and what's the program and the whole ethos of what they're trying to achieve there?
Well, mostly the YMP program is just about bringing the next generation through RC. But yeah, we've got prior generations just mentoring all the young kids like me, and all the way to kids up to Logan's age. So yeah, I think I may be the only YMP member in New Zealand, or at least for the youth side. But we've got a couple of mentors. And then over in Aussie, we've got, I think it's gotten up to about, I want to say 50 drivers overall.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a big crowd over there in Aussie. And yeah, so the main distributor like throughout Oceania is, I want to say, Tim Wainwright. He is Replay RC, so he's the distributor and team manager for Australia. And yeah, so just been pretty new to me. So I joined the youth mentoring program earlier this year, so it was probably January or February this year. And yeah, throughout this year, so from that time to here, I've been to 2 major events, so 2 international events. I've been to just counties for ABC round 1. I finished 5th in nitro buggy there and 7th in e-buggy. And then, we went over across the ditch to Brisbane, Australia for round 3 of the Asian Buggy Championship, and I was very pleased with my results in e-buggy. Finished, I think, 15th overall, made the A main, first ever time doing that at Aussie. And then had a few problems in the B main in nitro buggy, just with a new engine, hadn't run it in fully. So I still had an amazing time there. Finished 15th in nitro and 15th in e-buggy, and I think about 24th or so in nitro. That was a great experience, third time going there. Just the main idea of the youth mentoring program was, just to bring the next generation through to RC.
Okay, cool. And so for yourself, Logan, this year you've been obviously pretty busy racing, not only in New Zealand but overseas as well. The support you're getting from the likes of your chassis sponsors, which are Yokomo and Hot Bodies. I said that right. I was almost going to say HPI there for a second.
That's what I get.
Are they actively helping you and assisting you in what you're trying to achieve?
Yeah. So I've joined. So I'm full factory on the factory team for Yokomo and HB. Joined the factory team for Yokomo this year, and HB is my second year on the factory team. And so I get full support from the company themselves, and they do a lot to help my program. I always have the gear I need and stuff. I've no complaints for any help and stuff I've received over the last few years. And then of course Shane O'Connor with the 8-scale side of things, he's done so much for me. Over the last 5 years now, I've been running HB, so it's been super awesome. And as you said, I've been real busy this year. We went to Silver State in Las Vegas, and that was an awesome experience. Super cool event. If that's on the bucket list for anyone, it's definitely a thing to do. I enjoyed it a lot, and after I've done that and the Dirt Nitro Challenge as well, and that's definitely the event to go to indoors. So you're always going to get to race. You don't have to race in a little track whilst it's 0 degrees and raining outside, so that wasn't fun. So my full program, I get a lot of support from overseas companies. As you say, Yokomo and HB, Hobbywing have been a big supporter of mine since 2019. Of course, Dad, Plague Bearings do a lot for me now, as well as Hyperspeed Lab and TRC, and a few companies that we've started distributing over the last year or so. They've done a lot for us, and we kind of do the best we can to help support their brands because they support us.
Question for Dad, and putting your Frankton Models hat on. The team you've got with Yokomo here in New Zealand, the support that you're giving out into the field now, not only in off-road or on-road, but also those who follow along the channel probably don't realize they're also quite prolific in drifting side of things, and probably a few chassis ending up in speedway cars as well, stock cars and that sort of thing. Yeah. How are you looking going forward over the next couple of years? What do you see the trends in racing and that sort of thing? I know the racing side of things is not always the place where you make money. You kind of bleed it out, but you make it up in other areas. What do you see the trends going forward in terms of the next thing for RC?
At this stage, I haven't really seen anything changing over the last couple of years. I think it'll still stay similar. I think the 10th off-road is going to be the strong compared to on-road. I don't think on-road's going to make a bigger comeback and sort of catch up to the numbers that off-road has. It's sort of when tyres and stuff like that change, people get a bit bored with their current options of what they can race. But I don't see much more out there The Speedway stuff, the TLR's new 22 East sprint car, like that's really, really cool, and that could get a little bit of momentum if there's enough in the country to have a few more tracks and that around. But then the motorbikes also was super, super cool, awesome fun to drive around, but they didn't get any traction as far as momentum to have clubs and racing with them. So they're great fun, but it's something that I think has missed the ball because people are not racing them. The tracks aren't really suited. They need a motorbike track basically for them rather than what we have with our normal 10 scale tracks. So I think, I think we'll just be carrying on for the next couple of years at least as we are. 8 scale nitro is huge. That's the race market is solid, but the basher market is not. So, people don't buy those cars anymore to go bashing around. They just buy an electric brushless machine, and that's the market. But for the racing side of things, we want to see people come racing. And I don't think it's going to change that much over the next couple of years.
Okay. And speaking of racing and that sort of thing, I know all three of you are involved with the Hamilton Club, and you've done massive work to try and rebuild after, and all clubs go through it. They go through that cycle where they're really, really strong, and then those members or who are running it decide they've had enough. They leave it, the club dwindles down a little bit, and then somebody else comes along, picks up the mantle and goes racing. Where do you see Hamilton Club going not long term, I have to say medium term? The venue that you've got now, which I was fortunate enough to host for you guys, the Waikato Champs, which is a cool venue, definitely better than the inline skating ring in terms of actually being able to stand on the carpet and do something, even though it's right next door. Where do you see the Hamilton Club going over the next couple of years? Do you see the 1/10 being prominent, or will it sort of circle back to some point where, like what you had at Bristol Park with the Nitro and that, do you see that coming back anytime soon?
Nitro is not really going to be a big part of Hamilton anytime soon. There's a few people out there, but we find it's better to just support the clubs that are going strong. So that means a little bit of travelling for us, but it's probably easier to travel up to counties, race the day, and then pack up and come home than Hamilton, where you got to be there early and set up and just sort of one of the last to leave. So they've put all the effort in. We like to get over to Tech Park as well every now and again. That one's we don't get there as much, but I think it's better to support a couple of strong clubs rather than to have more and more clubs. So Bristol, with the Astro that we're putting down and what we've had over the last couple of years, one of the things we're not allowed to do is have nitro cars there. So that's just off the table at this stage. But I see big things being able to be done at the indoor venue, at the tennis arena, because, as you say, it's a fantastic venue. Logan, with his international contacts and stuff, now, lots of people are going, when's the next big meeting? They want to come here. The Aussies want to come. So that's where we see a lot of effort probably going in, especially even hopefully starting next year with some big events and that will hopefully come. But as you say, that venue was great. Everybody that comes and races, from the basic club racer to the top guys in the country, they rave about it when they leave. So it's been a huge effort from David Sweeney and the rest of the committee. But he sort of got us started. I was sitting on the fence, not thinking that the club was even worth sort of resurrecting and getting indoor racing again, because we didn't have the numbers. But overnight, it just exploded. So that's really cool to see. Logan might be able to say a bit more about what we're trying to achieve for next year and moving forwards.
Yeah, it's been a big effort, kind of rebuilding the Hamilton Club and the indoors to what it once was. So like when I started, was 2015, my first year racing, and it was indoor racing was huge. We were racing on road and off road in the same day, and like we'd be there I'd go to do my football in the morning, and then I'd come race off road in the afternoon, and there'd be 160 cars or so on a club night. We're out there at like 11 o'clock or something crazy, but that was when indoor was huge. And definitely there's more clubs popping up around the place, like Auckland Indoor. They're getting 150 cars to a club night, which is cool to see. But we're trying to just keep it to that sort of 100 car mark. And for our club races and stuff, we're just trying to really cater to our club races. And then when we want to do a big meeting, we're going to do a big meeting, do it proper. So as Dad said, I've traveled a lot and kind of seen what can be done at these big meetings and how cool, how much of a spectacle we can make it. And yeah, there's definitely plans to make it big, bring a few international guys over next year. They're all keen. They saw the Waikato Champs, they saw my posts and stuff, and they're all like, we want to get into this and come have some fun. So yeah, that'll be cool. As we saw last year, Jared Bent, he came over from Australia and he had an awesome time. He runs the ACS series over there in Australia, which he's looking to start back up again. So that might be something in the future for Hamilton. But yeah, we just kind of take it as we can, sort of thing. Just do what we do and try and make sure that the club survives and make sure everyone can have fun. Just not just me and Dylan and the top guys, but just the club races as well.
Yeah, that's the important part, is catering for everyone else who just wants to come along and have a race. So I must admit, the live stream we did of that event for my channel was probably the biggest hit I've had, and a lot of it came out of Australia. The algorithm and the data that I've looked at is a lot of people watching from Australia. Normally when you do a live stream, you don't get much straight up front. It's normally after the event because, our community's small and everybody is generally at the event and they watch it later on. But yeah, so it was quite amazing to see the stats that came through from that on how many people from offshore were watching over the weekend. So that's a good thing, that we're attracting that kind of viewership across our little country. Generally, outside of the ABC, which is that's up here sort of professionalism, for a not to be disrespectful to the Waikato Champs, but it's a big club meeting, to get that sort of viewership and to get the engagement that I've seen is good. And the event was cool, and there was some epic racing across that weekend. There was some tough calls to be made, which is normal. But it is what it is. And seeing everybody essentially at the end of the day going home relatively happy with how the event went, and then all the stuff that comes on afterwards in the socials and the comments and that sort of thing, you can really see that what the Hamilton Club and yourselves are doing is a massive positive, and it's going in the right direction. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys can bring and the Hamilton Club can bring going forward. There's lots of stuff going on up here in Auckland too, with the Auckland Club, or ARCCC, working out in Colindale, getting some stuff going on there. North Harbour for on-road is progressing along with still in the very, very early stages, but looking to get it somewhere permanent finally, which will be good to have somewhere for on-road. And who knows what that's going to bring for the committee over the next coming years as they work through that. In terms of the Worlds, which are only a few days away, what's the prep work been like for you two?
For me, it's been a lot. I've almost finished building all 4 cars. So I rebuilt both of our two drives, and then we've had rebuilt my two-wheel drive. Dylan's got 2 new cars, so new two-wheel drive and new four-wheel drive. Then I've also got a new four-wheel drive. We were lucky enough to get the new Yokomos, the MO 3.0s, early release. We got 2 cars sent out to us, and there's another car in Australia. So there's 3 of them in the world, and we're lucky enough to have them for the world. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool that Yokomo have done it for us. And yeah, hopefully we can just put on a good display of them.
Nice. So Dylan, you're running Yokomo in 1/10 scale as well?
Yep.
Okay. In terms of the product that you're using in the cars, and just for YouTube channels and stuff like this is not a paid content or anything like that. It's just a general question. What are you guys running over the weekend in terms of electronics, batteries, and any other bits and pieces that people may want to know about?
Yeah, so we both run Hobbywing. So Dylan gets helped out through the Hobbywing New Zealand supplier, and I was lucky enough to get a factory support sponsorship from Hobbywing Direct for this year and for the future. So yeah, we're running the XR10 Pro G3 ASCs. That's their top of the line flagship mod speed controllers. And then for the motors, it's the standard V10 G3 zero motors. And then we're running an 8.5 turn in the two drives and a 6 turn in the 4 drives. Nice. And then myself, I run for Sanwa as well. So I'm running the Sanwa servos, Sanwa radio gear. I do run for Hyperspeed lab batteries, but with them being so new, we weren't able to get them IFMAR approved. So I'll be running Gensys through FMS at the Worlds.
Okay. And what about you, Dylan? What's the outside of the Hobbywing? What else are you running in terms of servo, hand controller, batteries, and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so I'm also running the Gensys battery, so I'm lucky enough to be sponsored directly through the Gensys International team. So yeah, we both me and Logan, we're running the Gensys Redline 2.0 5400 milliamp in the 2-wheel drive, and then we're running the LCG Redline 2.0 4400 milliamp in the 4-wheel drive. And then I'm also sponsored by Savox, so Team Savox. So I'm running the low profile servo, so the SB3262. So that's the top of the line, newest model of the 1/10 low profile servos. And then I'm also running the FlySky MB4, the Noble MB4 Pro Plus for my radio. And then I'm also running a FlySky receiver as well.
Okay, cool. And Dad, what are you running?
My feet. I've hunted hard about racing. I've seen a few of the names in that racing and some of the older guys that are racing. Steve Oyston here from New Zealand. Scotty Ernest is racing. So I'm like, I wish I was, but I know I'm just going to get flustered with the racing while running around after the boys. It probably will be a pretty relaxing week because it is quite a few days. Logan does all the work really on his car. All the setup is all from Logan. So I'll just be double checking Dylan's car because we really got to get on top of that this year. There's been a few mistakes on his cars when things aren't sort of set up exactly as they should be. I drove Logan's car at Counties, his 2-wheel drive car there about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it's the best 2-wheel drive car I've ever driven on dirt. Normally it's a nightmare to drive a 2-wheel drive on dirt, and this thing just blew me away. So he's heading down the right track with his setup knowledge, and so looking forward to it. We just need to transfer everything from his car, which he's just rebuilt Dylan's one, so it's going to hit the track 100% the same, but we just need to make sure any of the changes during the weekend, because the track does change a lot between the morning and the afternoon. So we need to just keep working on trying to make the cars as good as possible for each of the conditions as that track evolves over the days in the week.
Have you seen the layout for the two-wheel drive track that they've? Yep. So from where I sit, not knowing how it was I can't remember what it was like beforehand, but it doesn't look too different. I don't know if the jumps are any bigger or anything like that. It seems to be the lap looks like it's going to be a little bit longer than what it was last time around. What's your impressions? What's your first impressions on the layout, I should say?
I've seen photos and stuff. It's going to be difficult. There's a lot of off-camera sections, which obviously a two-wheel drive doesn't really like. But the track should be fine. As Dad said, it changes a lot. It's very hard to keep up on. Like a lot of guys that have been there before and stuff will say the same thing. It's hard to keep up on the track. They water it a lot overnight, and then they don't touch it throughout the day, so it dries off and goes really hard packed and quite abrasive. Not super high light, like a medium grip, definitely higher than what we see in New Zealand, but nothing like AstroTurf or carpet level grip. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The track should be fun. The jumps are quite a lot different. Like the layout and stuff is very different to what it has been. And it'll be interesting to see how the locals adapt to it, because they had that track in there since February last year. Is how long they've been running it. And so obviously when I went over there for the nationals and the pre-world and stuff, those guys have been running on it every day for a year straight. So they know the track inside out and they can basically drive with their eyes closed, sort of things. But it'll be interesting, kind of level out the playing field a little bit more and just try and keep on top of the track as a driver and as a setup sort of guy. Just trying to make sure the car's hitting the track correct every single time, and so it gives me the best possible chance to do well.
No indication of what the four-wheel drive track looks like. The changes
It'll be reversed.
Just straight reverse.
They'll reverse it and change the jumps on the chicken day before drive. That's what I've been told.
Kia ora team, it's Mike Stick here. Thanks a ton for tuning in and supporting Let's Race RC. Every like, every comment, and every new subscriber keeps this channel growing and helps us bring you even more RC racing action from across New Zealand. If you're loving what we do and want to help us keep the wheels turning, you can shout us a coffee or even a beer over at buymeacoffee.com/letsracerc. Your support means the world, and it helps us stay trackside, bringing you the best coverage. Don't forget, like, comment, and hit that subscribe button. Membership options are in the link below. Catch you at the next race. Back to you, D-Maz.
Dylan, I know you are quite passionate about 1/8 Nitro, but you seem to be getting quicker and quicker in 1/10 Electric, definitely an indoor. What's your pick on how the event will go for yourself and also for Logan in terms of what you're going to have to do to keep at the pointy end of wherever you want to end up? What's your thoughts on that?
So yeah, for me, it's just really going to be all about consistency, and 10th scale especially. I lack a little bit of that, but yeah, just try to find as much consistency as possible. I know I've got the lap pace to be in the top 50 or so, but yeah, it's just trying to put those laps together every single lap, and then do it for 5 minutes with all that pressure that comes with the Worlds. And yeah, with the nerves and all the excitement that comes with it, it's going to be really tough and challenging to just do the best that I can.
Okay, cool. So out of the contingent that's coming across from New Zealand, which do you think out of the team is going to be the one to cause the most havoc in the pits?
Casey Dawson.
Nah, Steve Oyston. Steve Oyston. It depends how many beverages Julian Hardy's had. He could be a bit annoying. Tim Engels already annoyed a few people. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it'll be good. It'll be a laugh. There's a lot of us coming over, and there's a lot of guys that are coming over just to watch as well.
There is.
Fun. And yeah, we're just trying to not get kicked out. We'll
So Will you guys all be together, or will they split you up by brand and that sort of thing, or is it done by country in terms of
Honestly, I
pitting?
have no idea. It's been different at like every Worlds I've looked at. In America in 2023, it was chassis manufacturers. So you'd all kind of group up with your chassis brand and do that. At pre-Worlds, we were in chassis, but we were right next to the Schumacher tent as well, because it was only a small group of us Yokomo guys. But yeah, if it is in chassis, there'll be a major tent for the Associated and the X-Ray guys, and then everyone else will kind of just be split up into their own little groups, sort of thing. That's just the way tent scale is at the moment. They've got X-Ray and AE have two massive teams, and then everyone else is kind of just fighting to get the rest of the drivers, but everyone does well. As you've seen with Schumacher over the last couple of years, they have a small team, but they still do very, very well at every major event. And we've got a good group of guys, myself, Dylan, Anthony Curdy, who's the team manager for Yokomo. He's helped me out both times I've been there. We've got Josh Payne, one of the old legends of the sport, running Yokomo as well. So that'll be a bit of a laugh in the pits with him. And John Philpott as well. He helped me at the Nationals in Oz. And Hugo Stang, a local racer who's very fast in stock. Like, he's one of the top stock racers in Australia. And yeah, so we've got a good group of guys, and we can definitely work towards having a good car by the end of the meet.
Yeah, Team Associated, they always seem to just pull one out of the hat, don't they? I mean, like, this part of the world, especially New Zealand, Associated's not overly big in terms of kits. Mind you, in saying that, you look at how many Associated kits are at AIR CCC, and there's quite a lot. But generally, it's kind of, if you don't have an old school RC10, it's just, who are they? But yeah, they always seem to come to a Worlds, and bang, there they are. They're on the money. They take a World Championship. The most prolific winning team. I think it's 33 championships across all the disciplines.
Yeah, 34.
Yeah, and then you look at the numbers of entries that are in for this event, and New Zealand in terms of entrance is number 3. We're the third, that's really cool. I mean, I went across to St. Ives back in the original 1980s, 89, with the stealth car and all that. I was over there for that, and there were a few Kiwis there. Well, there was definitely Kiwi supporters, but there weren't a lot racing. And then I think it was 91 in America, Detroit, I think it was, where we had a big contingent go over. Gavin Dawson went across, another person who had hair back then too. Kyosho made a mistake with their car and brought out the Triumph, and kind of, I won't use the word that we are all thinking, but yeah, definitely stuff things up a bit. But yeah, you're right. Schumacher, in terms of a team, for a small, plucky English team, and I was talking to Luke Prattley the other day, who went and visited the factory and gave me some lowdown on what it's like behind the scenes there. It's pretty amazing what they achieve for what they've got. When you look at, I don't know if you've seen the YouTube stuff that Bruno Coelho, when he was working for X-Ray, he did a factory tour of X-Ray and their state-of-the-art CNC machines, their molding machines and all that. And you're looking at these multi-million-dollar machines producing RC car parts, and you're going, the math ain't mathing. How do they make that work when all they do is race product? They must be doing something else on the side that we don't see. That's the only thing I can think of. Yeah. But their team's massive. The machinery they've got to produce the kits is state of the art. They've got a state of the art facility. Money's got to come from somewhere else, but we can only surmise that. I guess only the Hooties can actually vouch for what's going on over there. Meanwhile, Yokomo got new owners. What does that mean for Team Frankton Models?
It's just an investment bank, and that's what a lot of the big companies sort of do these days. So if they're not privately owned anymore, one bank will buy them, run it for a few years, see if they can add some value to it, sell it off to the next bank, and it just carries on. So it makes no change for us. The only change might be as if they want to invest, because it is a well-known Japanese brand and it's a Japanese owner. So they'd like to the history and that of their companies. They like to grow them. So it could be interesting if they want to sort of put some, because since Ryan Mayfield took the double, and when was that, 2017, they sort of have cut back since then. So, there's not much of a big team or anything. The products are still fantastic. There's still new products coming out all the time. As you said before, like there's a complete different scene in the drift market, and the Yokomo drift chassis are one of the most popular ones. We've been winning on the carpet events, and our team of drift guys have been winning on the drift events, Waikato Champs, the Nationals, the Hobby Station just had a AE86 day, and all the team guys had a ball. It was more a fun meeting, but they still actually, I think it was first and third with the team. So Yokomo's blows me away with it is a small company, but here in New Zealand they're basically winning on every part of racing, on-road, off-road, stock cars. The boys just won the what was that? That was what the
they won the Super Stock Nationals.
No, the one before that you were up in Auckland.
Yeah, the Super Stock Nationals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the Bennetts and stuff from Taranaki, they've been doing really well with the Yokomo donors, and there's a lot of people that are running them. So they seem to be strong enough and hold up on the speedway side of things. And as Dad said, we've done really well with them in 10th scale. It took me a while to finally start running Yokomo. I think Dad took over Yokomo in 2018. I was still on X-Ray at the time, and it wasn't until 2020 where I joined Yokomo. Finally, Dad just threw me a car, and it's been amazing ever since. So won just about everything there is to win in New Zealand, and trying to take myself overseas and just do as best as I can and learn, try and be better every day.
Don't want to let too much out of the bag, but North Harbour possibly have something coming up over Waitangi weekend next year, which there's a couple of classes you haven't won yet. So I think you might want to just put that in your diary for later on, and come and have a turn and see if you can't beat the stalwarts of a couple of classes there, namely Luke Duffy. Mainly Luke Duffy.
Kia ora team, it's Mike Stick here. Thanks a ton for tuning in and supporting Let's Race RC. Every like, every comment, and every new subscriber keeps this channel growing and helps us bring you even more RC racing action from across New Zealand. If you're loving what we do and want to help us keep the wheels turning, you can shout us a coffee or even a beer over at buymeacoffee.com/letsracerc. Your support means the world, and it helps us stay trackside, bringing you the best coverage. Don't forget, like, comment, and hit that subscribe button. Membership options are in the link below. Catch you at the next race. Back to you, D-Maz.
Yeah, I'll try and be there. I enjoyed the honours stuff that I did over the last couple of years, the very few events that I got to, but I did really enjoy it. So there's another couple of events that are in the plans. Heritage Series, there might be one of those in New Zealand. So I'll try and build up a touring car and come race again. The new MS2 looks awesome. There's been a good few results overseas and stuff, and we'll see what Gail can do with it at North Harbour. So I'm looking forward.
Yeah. Well, he didn't run it last weekend at the Tony Stevens. So he's looking forward to running it. He's definitely looking forward to giving it a go and seeing what he can extract out of the car and see if he can get any quicker. I can honestly say, hand on heart, watching him over the weekend against Luke. Luke did have to work. It wasn't plain sailing, so Gale has he kept him honest. It didn't quite go his way. Just one of those things is like, Luke's got a lot more years of experience behind him, so he knew when to push and when not to. And whereas Gale, would take my hat off to the guy. He did a really good job to bring it to Luke. And that he definitely did. If you've seen any of the coverage, go and have a watch back of the 13.5 or actually A2 modified. That was a good one as well. He pushed him the whole way. So go back and have a look at that when you get a moment. And don't forget to click like, comment, and subscribe just while we're at it. Not that it's running across the ticker at the bottom of the screen there, reminding everybody to do that. Okay, so we're getting into nearly an hour into this. Dylan, do you want to give a shout out to your sponsors without reading what's on your car?
10th or 10th and 8th?
All of them.
All of them.
All
of your sponsors. Who supports you?
We'll be here for a while.
So Yokomo, Mayaka, Invisible Speed, Hobbywing, Plague Bearings, Frank the Model Shop, TRC, Fly Sky, Genzace, Savox, did I say Craftworks Architecture? Mob Boss, KP Graphics, Frank the Model Shop, Mom, Dad. Is there anyone else?
I think you got it.
Yeah, I think you have. Now, imagine if you'd done that like RCTV, where, at the end of their, I don't know if you've seen their YouTube channel that they're running at the moment with their news series, where they've got their sponsors and they do the silly little things with the, talking about this, and, you go and have a watch of that. I mean, if Dylan had a lot.
Savox! Tony Sports! Invisible Speed, my Uncle Youth Mentoring Program! Beach RC! Olowski Racing Line! Or SRC! Euro RC! Mo Graphics! 36 Mood!
Yeah, if Dylan had to do that, you'd be there. It'll be the whole episode, just him thanking his sponsors. And okay, so for you, Logan, do you want to give a shout out to your sponsors?
So obviously Frank the Model Shop, been there from the start. Mum and Dad, Yokomo, Hobbywing, HB Racing, J Concept, Senwa, Hyperspeed Lab, Plague Bearings, TRC, Outlaw RC, Craftworks Architecture, Mob Boss Graphics, Crash Paints. I think that was everyone. I've had the same program for apart from I started running Hyper this year, but I've had the same program for a good 5 years now. I think Senwa was the most recent addition before Hyper, and it's been solid. I've had no major issues in any of my racing. Both 10 scale and 8 scale, it's been awesome. So yeah, they're available all around the country. Good support. We try and get to every race we can to do the best for our customers and stuff, and make sure that they can hit the track and have fun.
Awesome. Dad, do you want to give a shout out to anybody?
My wife. Shout out to Amanda. But actually, to be honest, the kids have got fantastic sponsors, but pretty much every hobby store or importer in New Zealand has supported us over the years. So as Logan said, he didn't get Yokomo till 2020. Before that was Bev and Trev at Zoom Resources. So we were running X-rays for a while. Fantastic cars, and yeah, we did really, really well with those. I was even able to win race meetings back then. So it was a pretty damn good car. Then we've got Kenley at 1.7. He does anything he can to help both of the boys. Luke Prattley, mainland. So he's always, if there's something we need, he'll sort us out. HOT over the years. So I've known Mike since he started HOT, and they're always there helping us out with anything we need, and making sure, we don't often have any breakages. I think in the last 10 years of whatever Logan's been racing, we've had one servo die. Dylan's never had a servo die. We haven't had a speed controller go other than one that got plugged in backwards. These days, most of them can handle that, but it's just amazing the brands and the quality and that we were able to race, because we don't want to go to Australia and spend thousands and thousands of dollars and a part let us down. So it is important that you have the right gear to go racing. What else have we got? We've got Hobby Station. They help us out whenever we need little bits and pieces. And then we've got Kevin Foote at Hobby Hanger. He's the official Hobby Wing distributor in New Zealand, and he's the one that helped hook Logan up with Hobby Wing to start with, and Hobby Wing saw how good he was doing and gave him a direct sponsorship. So, these are all companies that compete against us, but they're always there to help. So it really is a pretty amazing hobby and community, sport, whatever you want to call it. So we put a lot into it, and other people actually have put a lot into it for us to get to where we are now.
Yeah, that's really cool to see that the community does that. It is a small market here in New Zealand, and it's great to see that, people put aside that, our brand, their brand, that sort of thing, and they just do what they need to do to make sure that people can go racing and have a good time, and it's for the greater good of the sport.
Yep.
Is Amanda there?
Yes, she's hiding.
Oh.
Does she want to come on camera for a moment?
Not really. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you.
So you're going to be in charge of keeping these three wayward people under control while you're in Australia, now that you've got Julian Hardy and Steve Oyston going across as well, which I'm assuming is going to be a nightmare.
I'm not going to be responsible for them.
No. But are you going to make sure that this time around your husband doesn't break his ribs?
I'll do my best. Yeah. So we won't have any. We won't have any extracurricular activities that are high hazard. So we want to make the most of our time while we're there. But yeah, we'll wait till afterwards. So I don't want to have to haul him up the mountain at Bathurst if he's got a cracked rib either. So.
Well, that's right, because you're going to Bathurst afterwards, aren't you?
Yeah. Yes.
That'll be epic. Have any of you been? Well, Nathan, have you been before? No, first time.
Yep.
You'll love it. You will love it.
Yeah.
What TV doesn't do it justice. That's all I can say. TV does not do it justice. It is epic. So enjoy that. Amanda, anything that you want to give a shout out to in terms of whatever, makes it tick for you to keep the family going in this hobby sport vacuum of money, whatever you want to call it.
As I say to my work colleagues, what else do I work for other than to feed and fund my family?
Yeah, because that is exactly what it's like. And, for any family that's doing any kind of sport, there's always someone in the background who's doing the hard yards. And obviously in this family, it's mum. And we often don't see that. We take that for granted, as, family members and that sort of thing. When you're out racing, you always forget about those in the background who are doing the hard yards, making sure the bookings are made, and Nathan doesn't forget his laptop or to fuel a car or whatever else he seems to forget. But might edit that out later, maybe. But yeah, it's great to see that, in terms of the sport, we've got a whole family that is into it, and you guys are, up there in terms of things. Normally you get a dad and a son, or a dad and a daughter going racing, and the rest of them not interested. My family's exactly the same. My kids don't care. they're not interested. They'd much rather do other things, and that's cool for them. But it's really cool to see, like if you were playing rugby, it would be, hey, cool, fantastic. The family's along with that, but it's really cool to see that the whole family are there. It's a multi-generational racing. And one day in the future, we might see a third generation of Toyas out racing as well. But yeah. Is there something you haven't told Dad yet? Too soon. But yeah, it's really cool to see the family side of things coming through. And it's long hours for everybody, especially for those who aren't doing the racing. It must get frustrating at times, but it's really cool to see that, especially Mum, you're there. You've always got a smile on your face. You've always got something to say. So it's always cool to see that at every race meeting. And the boys are generally relatively good. Hey.
Relatively, yeah. I do refer to them as highly strung racehorses sometimes. So they are fiercely competitive, and I'm very proud of them for that. So it's great to want to strive to be the best. And they've grown and matured through this to understand what the best is actually looks different than being the winner all the time. So yeah, I'm very proud of them and how they represent themselves and our family, and their sponsors and everything, and the way in which they show up. So it's pretty cool. And they have learning moments. They've got to remember how old or how young they are sometimes. But no, they do a really good job, and I'm really proud of them. And their dad too. So he's grown and matured also.
Yeah, hasn't grown enough to, not to forget how to crash a go-kart or something like that. But yeah,
I didn't crash.
Don't get him started.
It's always someone else's fault, eh, Nathan?
It was.
All right. So, hey, look, Team Toia, thank you very, very much for coming on board this evening. I really appreciate this. This will come out post the Worlds. So everyone will get to see this, and I might do a quick follow-up after the event and dovetail it into this, so we've got a before and after. But again, thank you very much for your time. It's really appreciated. I really enjoy bringing this sort of stuff to people, and I hope that you've enjoyed this 1 hour chat that we've been doing, and I like the story that you guys have told us this evening, so I'm really happy with that. Again, thank you very much. And to those watching along at home, guys, I'm going to do that typical bullshit thing for YouTube and all that stuff. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow along. You can buy me a coffee at an event, or you can join our membership. The link is down below. We like to thank Team Toia for coming along for tonight. We wish them well for the 2025 IFMAR 110th Electric World Championship Off-Road Worlds Nationals. Yeah. So again, thank you, family. It's been a real pleasure of mine to have you on board on the channel. I look forward to the catch-ups we're going to do. Just for FYI, we're going to do every day a quick catch-up with the team. Luke's going to run around with the camera and catch up with everybody. And then we'll post that the following morning. So it'll give me some time to edit down Steve's weather waffle and Julian's 4-hour tirade about how he cut something with a piece of plastic or whatever he's doing. But it's all about you guys and about the fun and about what you're doing. That's what the aim is to make sure, to give behind the scenes of what these events are like for our Kiwi drivers who are going over there to represent us. And then we'll, all the other stuff will be seen on the regular channel. So again, thank you very much. It's been an honor to have you guys on the channel. I wish you good luck, and we'll catch up with you when you get back home.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That's a wrap on our pre-Worlds feature with the Toia family. Yes, we have posted earlier than what we said in the episode. What an incredible journey they're about to take as they head over to the World Championships. big thanks to the Toyas for sharing their story with us here at Let's Race RC, and an even bigger thanks to you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that like button, drop us a comment to cheer the Toya crew on, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the world's coverage coming up. And hey, if you want to help us keep bringing these stories trackside, you can support the channel at buymeacoffee.com/letsracerc. Every coffee keeps the cameras rolling and the pink mic on point. I'm Mike Stick signing off. Catch you at the next race.